Yep, got it. All right, it is 6 o'clock. So I think we will go ahead and bring this meeting of the Boise School District. One moment, I've got to mute my sound. One moment. All right, that should do it. Welcome to the meeting of the Boise School District for May 10th, 2021. Thanks everybody for coming to my birthday party. It is my birthday today, so I really appreciate everybody showing up. That's awesome. My wife was a little disappointed that I decided to come to a school board meeting for my birthday, but it's still a great way to celebrate because I do love the Boise School District. I'd like to go ahead and do a roll call. Sharon Mass, Clerk Mass, could you do a roll call of the trustees?
Trustee Esty?
Here.
Trustee Hawes? Trustee Wagers?
Here.
Trustee Langley?
Here.
Trustee Greeley? And Trustee Gregory is not on yet, but she is joining us right now.
Great. So only one missing is, I believe, Trustee Oppenheimer, and we knew about that ahead of time. We would like to remind everybody, I'm actually gonna let the Deputy Superintendent, how do we conduct these meetings? And what are our values? Yeah, I'm asking you, yeah. I'm throwing it off for you.
Trustee Wagers, respect, honesty, dignity, responsibility, and teamwork. How's that?
You got it. Nice job. Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent Dennis. Just those are very key values to our district. And I'd like to thank everybody for following those. And remember, that's how we treat these meetings and our students. We'll go ahead and go to our first order, and we're going to do the red and gold apple video presentations for today. So if you could cue those up, thank you much. Good morning. It is our pleasure to recognize an individual who has served the children of the Boise School District for 24 years. This person is a strong and inspirational instructional leader committed to the district's vision of graduating each student prepared for college, career, and citizenship. Although this person's public school career spans 38 years, since 2007 he has served in the roles of assistant principal and principal in both the elementary and secondary settings. As assistant principal, he had stops at Boise High and his current placement at Riverside Elementary School. In addition, he served for 11 years as principal at the district at Hawthorne Elementary, Hillside Junior High, and Timberline High School. Prior to moving into school administration, this person spent 23 years in the classroom, teaching in his endorsement area of social studies and physical education. Prior to joining the Boise School District in 1997, this person spent the first portion of his career teaching in Flagstaff, Arizona from 1997 to 2006. He served as a social studies teacher, assistant volleyball coach, and head boys varsity coach at Capitol High School. This person exudes positive energy, is open and engaged, and is centered on positive relationships, including connecting with students, staff, parents, and community members. His passion for public education and dedication to academic excellence have resulted in the success of thousands of students who he has positively influenced during his career. As an inspirational secondary school administrator, he has worked tirelessly over his entire career to see that each student has every opportunity to succeed in school and beyond. His retirement this year will be felt by all. And as a side note, this individual, let's see, he was a principal at one of my child's elementary schools. He was a principal at 3 of my child's junior high schools. He was principal, he's a basketball coach where I went to high school. And he lived across the street, and actually his girls babysat my daughters growing up. So very close connection to this individual. You know, he's a very special guy. He's a guy that would be out front of every school greeting every student every day. So he really made those very, very strong connections, which we value in the Boise School District. So it is my honor tonight to recognize Ted Hediga Assistant Principal, Riverside Elementary School with the Red Apple Award for May 10th, 2021 for outstanding service to education and for educating today for a better tomorrow. So, Mr. Hediga, I'll have you come in. Here's your Red Apple Award. Here are the words that are so nicely written, the certificate. But thank you so much for your service to Boise, our children, and our school district.
Well, I'd like to thank the school district for this wonderful award. I've made several stops along the way working for the Boise School District, and everywhere I've been, I've found supportive people who are wonderful to work with. I've seen lots of people who won the Red Apple Award and always thought, what a great award and what an honor for them to be recognized by the district. I feel that same way, whether it be teaching and coaching or an assistant principal at an elementary school or assistant principal at a high school or elementary principal or junior high principal or high school principal, and then back to elementary. I feel blessed. We have a great district that's been extremely supportive of me as I went through this journey, whether it be the high points or sometimes when things are a little bit tough. But anyway, I sure appreciate the Boise School District, and I appreciate the folks here at Riverside for all the support they've given me as I finished up my career. So thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. It is our pleasure to recognize an outstanding individual who has served the Boise School District for over 25 years. This person is incredibly skilled and an instrumental part of the Ascent staff. This person has a magical way of connecting with students, and students who have a hard time relating, that is, and opening up to anyone will open up to her. This person often dedicates personal time and effort to do special things for students and staff alike. She has reached out to obtain community services to provide opportunities for students they would not otherwise receive. Her compassion and firm boundaries provide a safe and welcoming environment for students to learn and grow. Her dedication to teaching appropriate behavior to each student through personal relationships has inspired and educated her coworkers. This person is a dedicated employee not only to the school district, but to her fellow staff members and the students that she serves. She possesses fantastic behavioral management skills. She trains new behavior support staff, created Ascent's data collection management forms, and is the mastermind behind the entire behavioral management system at Ascent. She has furthered her education, which has greatly expanded her knowledge and skill set, and she recently received another degree directly related to helping emotionally disturbed students. This person is admired and respected by students and staff alike. She is calm, patient, kind, devoted, honest, and so funny she could actually be on Saturday Night Live. She's a great coworker who can bring a smile to anyone's face on the most difficult of days. She is a shining star who deserves to be recognized for her contributions. It is our distinct honor today to present the Golden Apple Award for May 10th, 2021 to Judy Bates, Behavior Support Specialist, Ascent, for outstanding service to education and for educating today for a better tomorrow.
Yes.
You pick that.
Judy, here is your Golden Apple Award. Thank you for all your hard work and service, not only to the district, but to the students. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I want to thank Boise Schools, the board, administration for this award. I feel incredibly honored and empowered as an educator and a behavior specialist. But I got to say that this award wouldn't be here in my hand, and I wouldn't be who I am right now if it wasn't for the students that I've worked with for over 25 years and the staff that I've worked with. And this makes me who I am as much as every one of them. And I just want to say thank you.
Well, congratulations and thank you to both Judy and Ted. This is part of what makes Boise School District great, is great staff and teachers and administrators. Without them, we can't do it. We'll go ahead on and move on to the next section of our board meeting night, which is a section we haven't done for almost a year, which is so good to have this part back. We're going to go through the ASB representative reports, and we're excited to hear from the high schools and find out what's happening in those areas. I think we're going to start off with Boise High School.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, we're here at Boise High. I have members of our student council here. I can't seem to turn on the video, so hopefully it's okay just to do the voice.
That'll be great.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, good evening. I know you can't see us. Can you guys hear us?
Can you hear them okay? Okay, yeah, thumbs up. Go ahead.
All right. Good evening, President Wagers, Superintendent Dennis, and trustees. My name is Jackson Fornander, and I am the current ASB president here at Boise High School. I also have Ian Peachy here, our senior class president, and Tarina Compton, the sophomore vice president. This year has been very difficult for all students across the valley. We want to begin by saying our hearts go out to everyone who lost someone or was otherwise affected by this pandemic. In our small neck of the woods here at Boise High School, we in the Student Council work hard to maintain brave culture, as well as creating new traditions for generations to come. We'd like to take a few minutes to tell you all about the amazing things that the Boise High community participated in and organized during this difficult year.
Last summer, we realized our incoming sophomore class would be limited in their ability to connect. To welcome them, Student Council sent individualized letters and Boise High stickers to every member of the class of 2023. In August, we also organized a virtual club rush accessible to every student during the first weeks of school. I am proud to report that Boise High still retains a Readers Club culture with nearly 50 clubs participating and maintaining membership throughout this year. To unify the entire Brave community, we are also organized a neighborhood window decorating activity whereby current, future, and former Braves put bees in their windows, showing their solidarity and commitment to Boise High School. It was humbling to see the impact Boise High School has had on so many of my neighbors, people I don't know who had students or were students themselves at some time.
In September, the Student Council, along with many clubs, worked alongside Boise School's community outreach program and delivered school lunches to those in need during virtual learning period. Last fall, Student Council, along with government teachers, organized a voter registration drive through on campus with over 500 new voters registered before the November 2020 election. For Thanksgiving, we delivered hundreds of turkeys and other holiday food to families all across Ada County. From October through January, Boise High continued the traditional coat drive, and we delivered over 200 coats to the Boise Schools Community Outreach, as well as the Agency for New Americans. Because of the economic impact of the pandemic, Boise High also held a large-scale hygiene drive. During the month of December, we donated thousands of essentials to local schools and again, Agency for New Americans. Student Council continued to raise for our period project, maintaining our commitment to end period poverty with free access to period or payroll products. Other notable fall events for Boise High were the celebration of the Boys Soccer State Championship win, Boise Girls Swimming State Championships, and the Girls Cross Country State Championship win. They're ranked second in the nation. In fact, Boise High is home to this year's National Girls Cross Country Coach of the Year, Mr. Aaron Olsmeyer.
Before the holiday break, Boise High School participated in an Adopt a Family program, again, through the Agency for New Americans. We donated 50 gifts to families in the community. In the new year, the Student Council worked hard to bring back a few fun traditions like our Valentine Baygram, where we sold friendship Valentines and all proceeds went to supporting the preschool at the Interfaith Sanctuary. We also had 2 virtual spirit weeks in the online learning period, and it was fun to see people touch and connect in a unique way. And both girls and boys basketball teams went to state as well as the Brave volleyball team.
In March, Student Council held a school-wide fundraiser for the Interfaith Sanctuary Preschool, where we donated change in water jugs that represented 5 of Boise High's finest teachers. The winner had to dye their hair red, and the runner-up had to wear Care Bear onesie. We appreciate the good humor of our winners, Ms. Stephanie Fernandez and Mr. Garrison. Last month, we held our Student Council elections for next year with both a record number of candidates and students who voted. To celebrate, we threw 3 block parties representing each class with fun, safe games, and activities.
Last month, Boise High School also participated in a Save Idaho Salmon campaign, whereby students wrote over 500 postcards supporting Congressman Mike Simpson's Columbia Basin Initiative. These postcards were delivered to Senator Crapo, Senator Risch, and Governor Little, asking them to save the salmon and support breaching the Snake River dams. This month, Boise High is participating in spring voter registration drive and working on celebrating our seniors with a formal farewell on May 22nd. As always, Boise High School continues to be a place of inclusivity and tradition, and we look forward to another year of fun and activism. I want to end by sharing a special thank you to our Student Council advisor, Ms. Monica Church, who held our community together and worked tirelessly all year to make these things possible. Thank you as well to our principal, Rob Thompson, for always listening to the student body and for helping guide us through this crazy year. Again, thank you all for listening, and we are now open to any questions you all may have.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Are there any questions from any trustees? It's just great to hear student voices again in the boardroom. Love that. So thank you again. Thanks Principal Thompson and Jackson and Trinity. And I missed the last person's name.
Ian Peachy.
Ian. Okay, thank you. Well, great to have you guys. We appreciate you taking the time out of your evening, and thanks for making the best out of a difficult year. You've done a great job. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next we'll head over to Bora High School, and I think we have Maddie Trammell.
Hi there. My name is Maddie Trammell. I am the ASB, or one of the ASB Public Relations coordinators for our Bora High School Student Council. Although our standards did not live up to our great Boise High Braves and all of the amazing things that they have done in this unfortunate year, I do want to share a couple of the highlights that has gone on in our student council, and that has been led by Brad Peachy, Ian Peachy's father. So I'm going to start off by saying that at Bora, this is from our principal, we have had some corporate sponsors contribute to our food pantry. We've also had some coaches and teachers sign up to keep it full for our community. We've had a couple of things put into our pantry, like Great Harvest and Starbucks. We've had a few corporations contribute to that. And then we've also been doing a drive up free food boxes every Thursday. This is a partnership with the food bank. So we've been trying to help our community out through this absolutely crazy year. Not to mention, student council has also done a little bit here and there. It has been kind of unfortunate with our funds, just because our senior shirts have not gone according to plan, just because of, I guess, student contribution. So we're a little struggling there, but other than that, we've been trying to keep our morale up by having some spirit weeks. A couple weeks ago, we had our very first in-person spirit week. So we had a lot of people show up and show out for that, which was awesome. We're getting ready for graduation not next Thursday, but the Monday after, which we're super stoked for. Our seniors' last day is next Thursday, the 20th, and we are going to have our Lucky Dog Award Assembly, recognizing all of our seniors that have been elected as best eyes, best hair, most likely to teach a Bora. And recently, we've been kind of hosting something new at Bora. We had one of our students' cousins be diagnosed with leukemia recently. His name's Ethan Strong. So our student councils had a school-wide fundraiser that has promoted this blood drive for him and his family, which has been absolutely great. And then last Thursday and Friday, we hosted a voter registration booth that has helped a few seniors that are eligible, that are 18, to sign up for the next election. And then our last Food Truck Friday is next Friday, which is actually pretty exciting. Our students do look forward to that, just because we don't have a bunch of stuff going on at Bora. I think our Food Truck Fridays are something that kind of lights up our day. And then this Friday, we're also doing a hosting for our career center. Miss Kimball, she is having us wear merch for all the seniors, which college we're going to next year, which is also going to make us really excited for college. And then we are dispersing our senior shirts soon. We did order those and get them all in there, but like I said before, we were kind of unfortunate with our funds this year just because we didn't have any super great fundraisers. Although I'm not supposed to say, don't tell anybody, trustees, but Bora High School did host a slime fundraiser, and we did kind of have a little run-in with that. But we actually made a lot of money off of that, which is cool, and that is going towards next year's prom, next year's homecoming carnival, everything like that. So we did get something good out of that, which is great. It also boosted a bunch of our students' morale. A lot more people showed up than we thought. So overall, I just want to thank Mr. Peachy for just standing by us and letting us kind of do our work and letting it kind of flow by. And I will now open the floor to any questions that you guys have. And thank you so much for having me.
Thanks very much, Maddie, for your presentation. Any questions or comments from trustees? Seems to me, Maddie, that Bora High actually did a fair amount of stuff, no matter what you say. So congratulations on making the best of a difficult year.
Thank you so much.
And next we'll move on to Capitol High School, which I think we have Gracie and Leah.
Hi, I'm Leah Van de Graaf, and I'm presenting with Gracie Strickland today. And we are members of Capitol High Student Council, and we actually have a presentation to share with you. So I can present that to the group real fast. Okay. So we're super excited to tell you all that Capitol has been doing this year, and Gracie will now begin talking about the virtual projects.
Awesome. So even while we were at home, our huge emphasis was trying to connect the whole school, even if we weren't able to see them every day. So we tried to utilize our Instagram as much as possible with posting things that are either like challenges to do at home or like things that are going on with sports life, just so people were kind of up to date, even if they weren't like seeing each other every single day. So while we were fully virtual, a few of the really cool things we did was before school even started, we organized and hand delivered everybody's planners along with a sticker and a button, which you can see in the picture at the bottom corner. And that was just cool because it was like a way to connect with each individual. Some teachers even got involved. And it was a good time for the students. If they had any questions, they could ask. So like we ran into things where they're like, where can I get a Chromebook? Like, where can I get certain materials for school? And it was a time that people could answer their questions. And it was also a time for them to kind of meet some people that they will see frequently around the school. And a second one that we did, which we had so much fun doing, were senior night gifts and also like sports highlights. So for all the senior nights, since they weren't able to have as many fans or spectators or maybe as big of a celebration, We would hand paint them signs that they could either hang up in their bedroom or put in their yard, just with their last name on it, to kind of just give them like a little something along with a card that was like handwritten with like a nice little note. And then we also did a sports highlights, just for people to kind of get to know the coaches and the sports and kind of what they're all about. And then some other things, we did Bucket of Sunshine for teachers, which were just little yellow bags that were filled with all these like yellow coordinated like colored items. So they're like highlighters, Post-it notes, all these little things that teachers would use that we gave to them at the beginning of the school year, just kind of like get them motivated to start off the year. And then we did Challenge Thursdays. So you can see that we had turn on your camera, text someone something positive, get out of bed, talk with your mic, and show your pet. So we did one each day for a whole week, and it just kind of got people involved, got them more interactive during those Google Meets, because we all know that we had those moments where we just sat on our bed and turned off the screen and didn't have our mic on for the whole day. And so just kind of for a whole week, it kind of got them more like involved with the day. And then during our normal year, we have Club Rush out in our courtyard, where people are able to learn about all of our clubs, who's like the leader of it, what they're about, all of those different things. And so naturally, we weren't able to do that this year because of COVID. So we hosted an online one where people were still able to learn the same things, and they were still able to contact those leaders of the clubs so they could get involved even if they weren't able to meet yet. And then once second semester came around, they already knew which clubs are going on and which clubs they could be a part of. And then finally, for our virtual, we did Capital Kindness Project, where to all of the businesses that either, and first responders that are either like in our area or that support Capital, we delivered them kindness cards with stickers. And so there's a box out at the front, and you basically just checked your name off of what businesses you were going to do, and you were able to write them your little like kindness cards, and you hand delivered it to them. And it was just so awesome to like see the reaction of like through this time, like just that like little moment of like kindness, of like giving them just like a nice little message.
Okay, and then for our hybrid projects, we did competitions between our two hybrid groups, gold and silver. And the main competition we did was a snack drive, where we collected snacks to keep around the school for kids who maybe don't get enough food at home or who are hungry throughout the day. And that's just been a great thing for our school, for anybody who needs anything. And that was also a great way to just get people more involved in the hybrid schedule, because that was really hard for a lot of people. And then we also did Love Week, and we had 5 different days where we had different themes: love yourself, love your friends, love when it's difficult, love your teachers, and love your school. And we did that utilizing Google Forms and Instagram polls to get results from the kids at our school and to get them involved and to just spread love around our school.
So then once we became full in person, when we had both gold and silver groups together, we just got done with a huge assembly, which was our Mr. CHS and our Make-A-Wish assembly. And this was the first year that we combined the two together. And so our huge emphasis was on Make-A-Wish. And so we raised $10,000 for Hazel, which went through like DECA. They are the ones who put it on. And then Student Council partnered with them for the Mr. CHS portion. But it was like such a great time because all of the students brought change for our change drive. And then we had the seniors were able to come, and then people in marketing and DECA were also able to come to the gym to watch. But then we had our video broadcasting students live stream it to all the different classrooms so that all the sophomores and juniors are able to watch in their second periods. And so we had an hour blocked off for them to all see that. So it was just like a great like thing that we do in a normal time during the year, that we were able to do it this year with COVID. And then we had Teacher Appreciation Week, and we tried to do a different thing each day of the week. So one day we gave them decorated plant pots with little succulents in them that all Student Council made. Then the second day we gave them their favorite candy, and then we got them breakfast, which was smoothies, and then we did donuts, and then a free lunch. And then we had a senior spotlight / freshman intros, and this is where seniors were able to send in a picture of themselves, their name, and then what their plans are for the future and what their favorite memories were from Capital. And we post these on our Instagrams so you could like see what some of them were doing. It was optional. And then we also did the same thing for incoming sophomores, where they would post their name, what school they're from and like what they're most excited about when coming into Capital. And then finally, we had an academic celebration, which was another assembly that we had, which just honored students with academic achievements and giving them medals, and certain programs had like their science, math, English, art, all of them got to highlight one student that they really thought went above and beyond. And so similar to the Mr. CHS and Make-A-Wish assembly, we also live streamed that into all the classrooms, so the whole school was able to get involved.
And then just for time's sake, we won't share these videos, but we made 2 welcome back to school videos, one for virtual and one for hybrid, and they're great, and we'd recommend watching them if you get a chance. And now we'd like to thank Amy Ciascio for being such a great student council advisor and for giving our school an opportunity to thrive even through COVID and all of our challenges. And we'd like to open the floor for any questions from the trustees.
Well, thank you very much for that presentation. Any questions or comments, trustees? Well, once again, great job. It shows you're a lot better at presentations than we are now. Good job. And also, I'm impressed on how much more, school is so much more than just academics. I mean, academics, of course, is why we do school, but it's so much more. And I really appreciate you kind of going through those things for us to see those, everything that it still means to you and what you made the best out of it. So thanks again. And I appreciate seeing your faces on the screen. It's great. All right. Thanks, Capital High. And now we'll go on to Frank Church. I think we have Winter and Sequoia.
Good evening, school board members, Superintendent Dennis, Deputy Superintendent Roberts, directors, administrators, and community members. My name is Winter Aaron. This is my 4th year attending Frank Church. It will also be my last year as a high school student. I'm a proud member of the National Honor Society, and it is my honor to be reporting this evening. This school year has been quite the year, wouldn't you say? Frank Church High School understands the challenges students, staff, and the community have endured. Amy Rust, our amazing social worker, along with teacher Chris Butts, have been educating the staff and students about awareness and the ability to maintain a healthy, functioning resiliency zone. Miss Rust explains the process as a way to represent what the ups and downs look like through our days. When we have a wide resiliency zone, we can handle these ups and downs without flipping our lid or feeling overwhelmed. Through the community resiliency model, we are learning ways to widen our resiliency zone. Through this process, students and staff at Frank Church are learning coping skills and understand it's okay if you're not okay. Here is a rundown of how we are doing and incredible accomplishments happening at Frank Church. Let's start with a glimpse in the English department. In Miss Haley's class, Avid 11 and 12 put together homeless kits with essential items and shared them with the community. In 10th grade English, students are learning through poetry and a collection of their writings. They wrote a collective poem called Seasons of their experiences and hardships. In 11th grade English, Danny Stewart from the cabin is working with students at Frank Church, inspiring them to read and write poetry. Now on to tending the garden and investigating a crime scene from our science department. In Miss McDougall's horticulture class, this year's plant sales exceeded their expectations. With the support of the Frank Church staff, students, and community, they sold approximately 600 plants and raised $1,621. That will be returned to the Frank Church horticulture program. That is amazing. What has forensics been up to? Miss Bartram's science class investigated who was stealing and consuming her Diet Dr. Pepper. Since students were already studying their own fingerprints, they were eager to solve this mystery. Come to find out, it was one of their own, and Adrian solved the case. Miss Bartram said it was so cool to see Adrian come to life in class and talk with other students about how he dusted the cans and what he was looking for. Maybe he'll become a fingerprint analyst someday. Here at Frank, students are finding their callings. Not only are the students engaged in forensics, they're producing amazing videos in Mr. Adams' broadcasting class. They're back in school and doing daily announcements, entertaining the students and staff with the national days, bloopers, quotes, district, community, and Frank Church News. They also just completed the yearbook, and one page includes nearly half of our grads who are committed to attending their choice of post-secondary grad education. Way to be resilient and forge on.
Thank you, Winter. My name is Sequoia Branham. I am a fellow member of the National Honor Society, and this is my third and final year here at Frank Church. Moving on to what's been sloshing around in the math department with Miss Berman, students completed a world math problem in real life. They used a three-person slingshot as they launched water balloons. They discussed math predictions to accurately hit their targets. Questions that were asked were, what if they moved the target left to right? Did the balloons need to go higher or farther to hit the target? Lower or shorter? How or what adjustments needed to be made to hit the target? With this experiment, students were able to work together and splash many volunteer targets. What a fun way to apply quadratics to real life. Let me show you how helpful our community school has been for families here at Frank Church. John Barriachota is the coordinator for our community center here at Frank Church. The community school offers food, clothing, and personal items for our schools, students, and their family and community members. The community school also offers a place where homeless youth can prepare hot meals, take showers, do the laundry, and enjoy some downtime. On Fridays, the City of Good donates meals from restaurants, inviting the homeless population to enjoy a prepared meal. This is a glimpse of what has been served this school year, of who's been served this school year. In November, the community school helped 88 families. December, 121. January, 65. February, 88. March, 92. April, 132. With continuing the help through May. Ms. Liston recently reported a 100% passing rate on the civics test. Way to go, Frank Church students. Here are a couple upcoming events. Leanne Thurston has invited the governor and mayor to visit her American government class this coming Friday, May 14th. Janet Liston will be presenting the 22nd George Turnaround Award at this year's graduation. Frank Church will be holding graduation on May 26th at 4:30 and 5:30 on our back lawn. What an exciting time for us seniors. As the school year comes to an end, National Honor Society took a survey checking in on students and staff, asking them how they were doing at this moment. 80% polled are glad to be back in building, while only 3% wish it was still online. This shows the resilience and determination of our staff and students to be here and offer and receive support. As we close, we invite you to consider these questions. What or who has helped you through the school year? Who is helping you the most right now? And what has helped you get through hard times in the past? Thank you for your time and attention. Do you have any questions?
Well, thank you for your presentation, Sequoia and Winter. Appreciate hearing what's going on at Frank Church. Any questions or comments from other trustees? Trustee Langley?
I would just like to recognize that all of the high schools who've spoken so far, and I can't wait to hear from Timberline as well. But Frank Church, you guys said it really well. You guys have such a positive attitude and have completed so much for the community and for each other. And it's pretty neat to see all the fun things that you guys have done in ways that you've gotten creative to learn this year. So well done, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Any other comments from trustees? Well, once again, thank you very much. Good to hear from Frank Church. And we will go on to Timberline next.
You guys hear us okay? Okay, can you guys hear us okay? Yes. All right. Good evening, esteemed school board members. I'm Andrew Long and this is Adam Jones. We're both members of Timberline Student Council, and we wanted to give you all a glimpse of what's been happening at Timberline over the past year.
Well, this past year has been full of challenges. Students and staff at Timberline have turned these challenges into opportunities. I'd like to begin by highlighting some brief statistics regarding our school we find particularly impressive, and we'll transition into information about what student council has been up to and what's going on in athletics, clubs, music, how have we been able to build a sense of community in a largely virtual setting?
At Timberline, we hold the philosophy that, as Rudyard Kipling wrote, the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. Nowhere is that more evident than with our student body, especially regarding academics. In the 2020-2021 calendar year, 98% of our seniors are expected to graduate. We have a total of 362 students with above a 4.0 GPA, encompassing all grades, and Timberline has 760 students currently enrolled in AP classes, totaling 1,622 AP exams. Additionally, Timberline has 22 Rotary Scholars, 9 National Merit Finalists, and 1 Presidential Scholar finalist.
And as our students look forward to life after high school, we're proud to note that at least 6 of our students have committed to serving our nation in the armed forces, including 1 senior who's been accepted to the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. The vast majority of our graduating seniors are planning to attend college, some of them with highly reputable universities, including MIT, Johns Hopkins, Cornell, University of Pennsylvania, and Duke.
Transitioning from academics, we'd also like to highlight some of the incredible athletic accomplishments for our student athletes. For wrestling, our very own Josh Mendoza was both district and state champion. Currently, both lacrosse and baseball, that is for boys, are second in the state. Boys hockey won state. Boys and girls swimming got second at state in the fall. And boys soccer, girls soccer, and girls basketball were all state academic champions. Additionally, track districts are this Thursday and Friday, and state is next week.
And as for our music department, although the pandemic has made performances relatively a severe challenge the fall, our band, orchestra, and choir have all continued to practice. And we're proud to note that our choir just recently performed their annual dinner show. This year's performance was Broadway 101. As for our band and orchestra, they'll be performing next Monday, May 18th, at Julie Davis Park. And we're proud to note that multiple of our band students have performed in small ensemble groups, winning at both the district level and hopefully soon we'll find out in the next week or two at the state level. Additionally, our orchestra is proud to note that 4 of our students have been named to the All Northwest Orchestra. We're proud to see them, and we'll see their accomplishments go forward.
Yeah, as members of Student Council, we've had a unique and challenging task in trying to build school community and school spirit even in a virtual environment. However, we still managed to host a variety of events, including drives, service efforts, assemblies, and a slew of others. In the fall, we organized and executed a food drive in which Timberline students collected canned goods from their own neighborhoods and donated them to food banks. Adam and I, as an example, did a food drive in Surprise Valley and ended up collecting a pickup trucks for the food. Many other students in Student Council and otherwise did similar drives. We also organized a sock drive for the homeless that we named Socktober. That saw immense success, and we participated in and advertised Letters for Rose that delivered kind notes to senior citizens who were unable to meet with their families during the holiday season.
This semester, as we moved into hybrid and eventually fully in-person learning, we've been able to do more events for more people that are more normal for us, including sponsoring our annual Make-A-Wish Kid, where we raised over $3,000 for both school and community involvement at Timberline athletic events. A couple weeks ago, we put on our traditional annual academic senior awards assembly, as well as are now organizing a food truck rally for later this week, and have plans to put together a senior superlative assembly for our final day of school.
And even though this year has been really different and challenging in all sorts of ways, we've been amazed by the spirit of community that has continued to build here at Timberline. Clubs have been meeting virtually and in person, NHS has continued to operate, and just a few weeks ago we celebrated Kindness Week, where students by and large participated in dress-up days, and Timberline's Wolf Connection put stickers around the school, complimenting students and encouraged students to write kind notes to teachers. And in just over 2 weeks, we will celebrate graduation at Extra Mile Arena on May 26th.
As this hectic year comes to a close, we've been really proud of the resilience and optimism we've ever done for the Timberline community. We look forward to the continued growth and development of our school community moving forward. As always, we appreciate all the board does for our school and our district, and thank you for the professionalism and consciousness you've all shown in otherwise unorganized and crazy year.
That being said, we'd like to open the floor for questions.
Great. Well, thank you, Andrew and Adam, for that presentation. It's nice to see great things are still happening at Timberline. Any questions or comments from trustees? All right. Well, we'll let you guys have the rest of your evening off. We appreciate it, and thank you for keeping on. I mean, I was impressed with the amount of achievements you guys have done, both on, both in sports, but also academically, and students continue to excel. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
So it really was great to hear from the students again. I've missed that portion. That may be one of the biggest things I've missed during the pandemic, and I'm glad we're finding ways to do that again. We are back now to the consent agenda items. Do any trustees have any items they would like to pull from the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
President Wagers.
Trustee Greeley.
President Wagers, I move approval of the consent agenda items 1 through 21.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Langley. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda items, sections 1 through 21. Any discussion? Hearing none. We'll need to do a roll call vote. Clerk Mast.
Trustee Esty,
Aye.
Trustee Hawes,
Aye.
Trustee Wagers,
Aye.
Trustee Langley,
Aye.
Trustee Greeley,
Aye.
Trustee Gregory.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Clerk Mast. Thank you, trustees. We'll move on to section E, reports and recommendations. And we are lucky enough to have tonight Mr. Bob McQuaid, who is the Ada County Assessor, I'm heard, not the Ada County Coroner. We had a little conversation beforehand, and he was quoted as being the Ada County Coroner in a news article instead of the Assessor. Some people think your news is bad, but I'm okay with your news, Mr. McQuaid. Appreciate you coming and presenting to the board today. The podium is yours.
Okay, how about, oh yeah, whoa. Yeah.
1 point for Superintendent Dennis.
I was not ready to call my 6-year-old granddaughter to come and get some help with this, but Mr. President and trustees, my presentation, usually those of you who have not heard my presentation before, I come out on an annual basis to the taxing authorities to tell them what's going on with market values and taxable values for budget purposes. And I'm going to give some values tonight, but most of the emphasis is really going to be as a narrative on why the numbers are the way that they are. I'm going to talk about the total value, residential properties. We'll just go over some of the key values that I think of interest, commercial, new construction, urban renewal, and then something that everybody seems to be talking about and very few people really understand, and that has to do with tax burden. Who is paying the property tax? Residential property owners or the commercial taxpayers? I'm going to set my alarm here because I don't want to go over my 15 minutes. All right. We're sending out 212,000 assessment notices in just a couple of weeks to all the residents in Ada County, and about 91,000 to property owners here in Boise School District number 1. Just jumping right into the market value. Total market value in Boise School District number 1 is about a little over $41.5 billion. That's up 24% compared to last year's $33.5 billion. And I know you have the spreadsheet, so I'm just going to gloss over some of the numbers. If you want more particulars, you can always refer to that. But that is the total market value. To get to the potential taxable value, we need to make some adjustments. The first is we need to take out the homeowner's exemption. It's $5 billion this year. But the legislature just passed a bill, and we're waiting for the governor to sign that bill. And I think he has either until tomorrow or Wednesday to sign that. And we're going to have to really make a mad dash to put this into effect. But one part of that bill is a very comprehensive bill. I believe it was 29 pages long. But the homeowner's exemption, which has been $100,000, it's going to go up to $125,000. In other words, that's value that will come off, that 25% will come off of the taxable value. Again, it won't be a strict correlation 25% because not everyone gets the $100,000. Also new this year, property owners can apply for the homeowner's exemption all year round. Up until this year, they had until April 15th to apply for it. Well, one problem with applications after the 1st of, or the 15th of April, let's say of July or even December, if you take a taxable property, or an apartment would be a good example, or a rental house is even a better example. If it was rented property up until December, it does not get the homeowner's exemption. But if it is sold, the person who applies for the homeowner's exemption, even though it's in December, will get the full $150,000. So we're going to be making adjustments to the roll beyond July 1st after the Board of Equalization adjourns. That's going to be a little bit difficult. We're not looking at a lot of value, but certainly there's going to be a lot of changes. The smaller taxing districts, it could be more impactful. So we take out the homeowner's exemption, at least today it's $5 billion. We take out other outstanding exemptions, which are just about $1 billion. Well,
Hold on just 1 second. We're gonna make it so we can hear you again. Like our battery's gone. We'll get a new one.
all right, we're back.
Great.
So outstanding exemptions, $1 billion. Well, also the legislature had some additional exemptions. There's a change in land use. Land use would go into the new construction role. That would be if there would be a change in land use. So let's say a farm went into a subdivision, we would capture all that. Well, there are some limitations now on how that will be calculated, which is going to cause there'll be an increase in the exemption, which again offset the taxable value. Site improvement exemption, another one that starts. It used to be that the minute a property there was a subdivision, as soon as a house started on that, that property went off the roll. It went on the roll, came off of the exemption and went on the roll. Well, now it doesn't lose its exemption until it's been completed. So it's another exemption that will be reducing that. Outstanding operating property, this property is owned by utility companies. It's assessed by the tax commission. We won't get that value until October, but we just using last year's numbers of proxy, that'll be about $484 million that'll be added back to it. So that gives us a net potential taxable value about $36 billion. That's up 26% over last year. Residential parcels, market value, not tax value, is $30.5 billion. That's up 25%. Median increase for existing. This is one that just everyone seems to be talking about. Existing residential property, we're looking at a 25% median increase. MLS for the year had about a 30% increase. So we're a little bit less than what MLS gave us the increase. That was in single family residential price appreciation in 2020. Okay, just a couple of minutes. Why is this market just going absolutely nuts? We had 13,500 sales last year. This is the most we've ever had. We'll usually have about 10, 11,000, not 13,500. We had 3,700 new homes in 2020. In 2019, there were 4,720. So we had fewer homes last year. And that's one thing that is really adding to this strong demand. It's a supply and demand imbalance. That's what's really driving this all up. Here in Ada County, we looked at a 3% population growth last year, and that's just a phenomenal population growth. Millennials, they're now wanting to buy houses, so they've entered the market. They had not been entrants before. Homeowners who have refinanced, they're staying put. They're not selling their house, so that's also constricting the market. Of course, we have the low interest rates. which are certainly have a lot to do with this, but also we have people who are moving into the valley who are paying cash for their homes. And they get into bidding war. Someone was telling me the other day, they were out in their neighborhood, there was a house that they just posted a for sale sign. And that was that evening, there were about a half a dozen people standing out in front, and there was a bidding war going on. Who was going to buy this house before the first day was even behind them? And that certainly is driving the price up. We have rising labor material costs. Concrete year before last was the big driver. This year it's the lumber. Lumber prices have tripled since last year. There was $600 for 1,000 board feet. Now it's $1,600 for 1,000 board feet. My chief deputy did a little remodeling project. He needed a stack of 2x4s about like this. He expected to pay about $55 for it. It was $150. In fact, he told the clerk, he said, there's got to be a mistake here. She said, no, the price of lumber has gone up. So that's what's really driving the prices of single family residential. Commercial, we have real property, 10.5 billion. Those would be the buildings and the land. It's a 24% increase. Median change in value for commercials up 12%, contrary to what they said in the article in the Statesman where they said I was coroner. They quoted me as saying that commercial is going up 28%. And I'm surprised I didn't get calls from a lot of commercial property owners with a number like that. We've never seen anything like that at all. But it is, it's 12%, not that 28%. Personal property, 716 million, it's a 12% increase. Personal property, next year, the $100,000 exemption, any business just to exempt the first $100,000, that's going up to $250,000. That'll be for 2022. And then also 2022, transient personal property, that would be equipment that's mobile. And it's usually large pieces of equipment, such as a large tower crane, construction equipment, whatever. And that's always assessed at the end of the year. That is all becoming completely exempt. And there will be replacement dollars for those two. I don't know it's going to play into the school district's budget. But the total market value is just over $11 billion. New construction that's taxable value is $739 million, up 42% over the year before. Residential is 286 of that. Commercial is 343 million. New subs change status of 111 million. That's up 105% over the prior years. Urban renewal is 2 billion, up 24%. I want to get into tax burden in the time that I have left here. Again, it really seems to be the issue that everyone is talking about. I know it's a legislature. It's been a hot topic. Now, is who's paying the property taxes? Here, Boise School District, residential property in 2019 was paying 64%, and commercial was 36%. This year, it's 67%, so it's up 3%. And the commercial has dropped by 33%. And if you first look at this, it's like commercial is just really getting a good deal. How are they getting these breaks? Well, they do get some exemptions, but so do the homeowners exemptions. And the homeowners exemption, all of the property owners is a big, big, big exemption. But what really, in my mind, explains what's going on with the residential and the commercial tax burden is here in school district 1, we had 79,000 residential parcels. That was 7 times the commercial parcels of 12,000. So first of all, we just have a lot more residential parcel than we do have commercial parcels. 30 billion is the value of the residential property. Its value of commercial is about 11 billion. So again, we've got the residential that's 3 times the value. So we've got more parcels and more value. And to me, that's what I think is really driving this disparity between commercial and residential. And also it's a function of what's going on in the economy. When we went into the recession in 2007 and 2008, the gap between commercial and residential really started to narrow. And at the height of the recession, they weren't that far apart. But as we came out, you saw them widening. And today they've never been wide as they are now, the difference between commercial and residential. I just want to close that discussion with the tax burden about something. Everybody says, again, commercial isn't paying their fair share or residential is paying too much. There really is no optimal mix. I've never seen any type of a study where it says 60% residential, 40 commercial, or 50-50. So there's really no optimal amount that I have seen, no academic studies at all. So when people say it's really out of whack, it's out of whack compared to what? Maybe the past, but I just went over what's going on with residential. We're seeing a lot more parcels being built or being added to the roll than more residential than commercial. So that's what I'm just going to end with. One last thing is some people just say, gosh, it's just got to be impossible how you deal with this market. Really, it's not. It's been very easy for us because we use models to value the properties, and we just collect the data. We get data from MLS. We send out our own sales letters. We put that into our model, and that pretty well sets what the valuations are going to be. And this year, it's going to be a 25% increase for single-family residential. And with that, I've got 2 minutes and 23 seconds for questions. But who's counting?
Don't you wish? Thank you, Assessor McQuaid. Appreciate your as always, very thoughtful analysis of the market. Trustees, any questions for Assessor McQuaid?
It's okay. I've been called worse coroner.
If not, I can start some because I always have questions about numbers. I love the numbers. So the first on the sheet you gave us, the one that really is my only head scratcher, and maybe it's an error. I hope not, but I don't. The commercial parcel count went up 21%. So it went from 8,421, from 6,925 to 8,421. The number of counts of parcels.
So where is that you're looking now?
It's right under commercial, about
commercial market value, commercial parcel count.
Yeah, to see the number of counts of parcels go up by 21% in the commercial sector.
Yes.
Where the residential sector went up 1.83% in parcel counts. I don't know how that many parcels get added unless we did some subdividing or something happened.
I think one thing that this is just a guess that in Boise, and I know you're beyond Boise, we're seeing the residential growth, the number of new parcels is much smaller than compared to Meridian, for example, or even Eagle. And I think a lot is just the fact that Boise is just getting built out.
Thank you. So this year you're showing, a 24% growth in market value, little more than that. Last year, I think was around 8%. Is that?
I believe it was. I got it right here. I think it was about 6%, something like that.
Okay, so yes. What has been typical over the last 5 years? I think it's been like between 5, 6. 7.
Yes, I would say probably an average would be maybe about 8 or 9%. Last year was a little bit lower than typical, and that reason, first of all, we're in a pandemic, but also we have to be at 100% value, plus or minus 90%.
Right.
And when we do our valuations, we usually come in at about 97 to 98% of what the sales price would have been January 1st. Well, last year when we were putting our roll together, back in, a lot of these decisions had to be made in April or the very first part of May. The economy, after having 2 really robust months, looked like it was just collapsing. And so we wanted to be a little bit easier because who knew what it was going to be like, what housing residential pricing was going to be when we went into July when assessment notices went out. So we intentionally weren't as aggressive as we were before. In fact, actually, we were at about 94.5% compared to where we're about 98. So that's another reason we're a little bit lower last year. But one thing I would really like to point out in part of this discussion is people tend to focus on, again, tax burden. To me, a real important number is the level of assessment. We are typically residential about 97, 98%. On commercial, we're right around 93, 92. So the level is less. Last year, our level was about 94% on both residential and both commercial. So to me, that was probably one of the very best years that we had when it came time for the level assessment.
In a very difficult year to gauge that.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
almost
Was it
impossible.
ever?
So looking forward, how's your crystal ball? Because it doesn't seem sustainable that we would get 24% again next year. At least.
No, it really doesn't. It's things are very different than they were in 2007, 2008. There's a lot of cash buyers are just paying cash. Banks are being much more conservative. So it's more difficult to get financing. So the people who are purchasing are much more stable financial position. Yeah, I think that's all I would just say about that. I think it's completely different. To me, one thing I would really think that would help would be if we saw mortgage rates start to go up. And to me, that could lead us to a softer landing. But again, it's just not borrowers who are buying, it's people who have the cash too.
President Wagers.
Trustee Langley.
What was the rate of increase for commercial last year? In the couple last year?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What was the increase of the rate of the value for commercial property in the last year and a couple of years before?
The rate of increase change?
Yeah.
It's been probably at about 4-5%. Or
We saw
residential
12
been
this
about
year.
maybe 8 or 9, something like that.
And do you have any idea of how many parcels are currently or look like they're under development that are going to take advantage of the agricultural exemption in the next year that are currently under development? I mean, is that something that you guys even look at?
I don't have that with me. In fact, I have if I would have brought my other folder with me, I'd have that because I could tell you what the subdivision development has been like this year.
Thanks.
But I don't have it, sorry.
No worries.
Any other trustees? Questions? Trustee Gregory.
Bob, it's good to see you again this year. And thanks for bringing this spreadsheet that gives us a summary of a lot of the information that impacts us with our tax rolls. Makes us feel like experts, but we still depend on you a lot and appreciate your being at the call and at the ready to assist with Nancy Landon as she works through the numbers for our district and helps us do all the math that's required, and appreciate your perspective and sharing your analysis with us. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Well, thank you for those kind of words. We really enjoy working with Nancy, and I know that she's requested some of the information, the impact of these changes with the new legislation. As soon as the governor signs the bill, if he does sign it, we'll get right to work and then get those numbers over to Nancy so she can get started on her work. Good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from trustees for Assessor McQuaid? I guess you did get off pretty easy, but it is you have a crazy job right now. I mean, it is trying to guess this moving train that's moving very fast. And
really is. To me, the biggest thing that's up in the air right now is how many appeals are we going to have? People who've been following the market, reading the news, 25% increases, they're going to know it. In fact, they might say, is this all my house is worth? But people have not been following it. They're just going to think, how in the world could this ever happen? And we don't know where it's going to land. So we're bracing ourselves for a lot of appeals.
I'm sure you'll be busy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for your time and making the efforts to come down and educate us on this.
That's my pleasure. It's just so nice to be in person this year and good to see you all.
Absolutely.
Take care.
So next we will move on to report from one of my favorites, the sustainability. I think we get Supervisor Taylor telling us what we've been doing on sustainability over the last year, because this is a great committee that we have. It's really a broad-ranging committee with parents and lots of students involved, which is great, in whole schools and the difference that they can make as a group. So thank you, Supervisor Taylor, for being here today.
Well, thank you, President Wagers, Superintendent Dennis, and trustees. I am Chris Taylor. For some of the board members I haven't really met yet, I'm the Science and Sustainability Supervisor for the district. And love this committee. Just want to show you a few things we have done and then answer any questions that you have. This is our mission statement that we've just created this year. And one of the biggest important things on this committee for us is keeping students engaged. We want the students to drive what is happening with sustainability. And we also want our community. We have a lot of community partners that work with us on the sustainability committee that I'll show you, focusing on these 4 pillars. Just a little background of the committee itself. We started about 4 years ago, and you can see who's on the committee now. We started with 3 of us. We had a facilities person, myself, and a teacher. And now at our committee meetings, we have almost 50 people. We have community members, we have students, we have people from the city, Idaho Power, just lots of people on our committee. We meet about 6 times a year, and we have sustainability and strategic plan, which I'm really excited about. It's been there, but we've added some new action steps to it. So we're really going to start focusing on that. And then also, I'll let you guys click, but we have a website. Yay, we have a BSD sustainability website now so that we can communicate with our patrons and our parents. What I want to talk to you just really briefly about are the 4 pillars. When we started this committee, we said there were 4 main components that we really wanted to focus on and look at in our district with sustainability. And you can see those 4 pillars up there. You can see energy, waste, water, and then what I'm passionate about is how can we add this to curriculum? How can we get communication to our families, and how do we get students engaged? So starting with that first pillar of energy, just a couple little things I want to share with you is we are in a cohort with Idaho Power in a company called SEG, Strategic Energy Group, and we have been working with them on how we can be saving energy. And if you take a look at that graph, you can see the 12 sites that we're working with. And on the bottom, I'm really excited. You can see how much we have saved kilowatt hours, 12%. Our goal was to save 5% when we started this. And because of the work of the committee and the team that I'm with, we have been able to do that. And I'm just going to open this up just because I think it's pretty impressive. Idaho Power and Strategic Energy Group made a case study for us that actually it's being shared throughout the country of just initiatives that we have done. It's a short 2-page, but we are sort of a model for sustainability, not only in our state, I feel, but also throughout the country. We've got some recognition from the Department of Energy, 50,001 ready. We have all these schools that are on this list right here are now got a recognition that they are energy savers from the Department of Energy. And then also we have some projects that are happening. We have some LED projects. We're doing some HVAC control upgrades. And then we have some energy shutdown procedures. That picture there is actually Earth Day. We put a challenge out to schools just saying, what can you do to save energy? I got so many pictures. This is from the kindergarten class at White Pine, just said, this is what we're doing, Mr. Taylor, to save energy. One last thing that's really neat about this energy cohort we're in is we get these heat maps. And these heat maps really help us focus on ways to save energy at a site. So this is Boise High's. The red means we're using lots of energy. Green mean we're not using much energy at all. And before we started this cohort, the first heat maps, the whole thing was covered in red. Now we've been able to focus on our control systems. Custodians are aboard with this. So you can see that the red in the middle there are when kids are in school. Then you have 2 days, which are the Saturday and Sunday. And then you can see it's actually hourly. Each column is an hour. So you can see it's on when our students and staff are there, and then we are shutting down. And we can see, like on some of these, we can see some red over here. My cursor can show, like right here, something was left on. But that tells us then, what is that? We can actually do some investigating to figure out what is left on. So that's our energy. Our second pillar is how do we save waste? And this has been one of the hardest ones for us as a committee, but we have some great partnerships with food services, looking at ways we can save issues with waste. And food waste is one of the biggest ones. One thing we started before pandemic was an orange bag pilot. We had an elementary school, a junior high, and a high school that was piloting this orange bag. And these signs were actually made by Bora High School students that we put up in those. So we're hoping that maybe we can get back to some of this orange bag savings. This project just came from kindergarten teachers. I thought was really neat, this Crayola recycling project. about a third of our kindergarten classes decided we're going to recycle crayons. And they used math. So the first thing they did, they sorted out colors. And they counted in groups of 10. And if you didn't know this, the recycling company won't take Crayola crowns unless they are in the colors, which I did not know that. So many of our kindergarten kids did this and took pictures of doing that. So again, another just way students that are driving this, these pillars. The next one is water. We're putting mini water bottle fillers in our schools with the help of facilities. We have two really neat projects going on currently. One is the Boise River Project. It's environmental DNA. It's actually a former student that graduated from us from Timberline, working with Fish and Game. And students are going out to the river and they are doing testing because this environmental DNA is like bacteria, skin that comes off the fish and other species that basically they can tell now, are there invasive species in our rivers? And how can we get the native species more affluent in there? The Walk to Water project was just completed at Hawthorne Elementary, but we're looking at maybe making this a district-wide. Students would carry water bottles. They actually carried about 60 miles of water bottles, and they got fundraising for this. They raised over $4,600 to buy filters for a small village in Guatemala. And the company that actually was working with them as, again, a former student from Bora High School that actually helped with this. And then finally, we have some AP students that are right now researching some different types of grass. One is called buffalo grass, looking at how can this grass maybe be a little bit more drought tolerant, so we don't need as much water, but still withstand 500 kids playing on it. And then finally, our last pillar is just the whole education, advocacy, and communication piece. We have 20 green teams out of our sites in the district, hoping to grow more of that. We have a sustainability summit that we have every summer. I'm glad we get to have it again this summer for educators. And the nice thing about this, it's not educators just in our district, it's around the Treasure Valley. We have quite a few rural districts that join us. So we can have communications about what are sustainability practices we can do throughout our state. Group of students decided to do a sustainability webinar series for students. So high school students would actually teach online to our Boise Online School students after school was done about different ways to save energy. And then we sent them like Idaho Power Energy kits, sent them shower heads for water saving. But again, students that are driving it. We have Green Apple Bite newsletters. I try to put out every other month just to communicate what we're doing. And then finally, something I'm really excited about is we just started the Green School Network. You can see the map there of all the districts that have a Green School Network. And what this network is a group that basically works with districts on sustainability practices. And you can see we're the only one in Idaho. Hollister is part of that network. We just did some leadership training last week and looking at seeing what their team of parents, teachers, and administrators can do. So wrapping up, just want to show you what some next steps are for our committee. Because our committee got so big, over 50 people, we decided to break it down into subcommittees. And on our subcommittees, we have a teacher advisor, we have 3 or 4 students, and then a community person. So again, I hope I'm iterating this enough that students are driving what's happening. And at our last meeting, this is what they want to focus on at the beginning of next school year. The people committee wants to really work on getting more green teams because we know if we can get a site of students, they will encourage the staff to move some of these sustainability practices. The planet group, those students want to really do some more ways to advocate for some climate literacy and ways we can really engage students in these climate discussions with the community. And then the prosperity group, they want to do some research on some different economic and environmental ventures that we can do. And then the last thing on there, you can take a look at your own time. What happens then, what these committees will do, if they have a project, they fill out this proposal form, they do the research, look at costs, then it comes to our advisory board of our sustainability committee, and then we look at ways that possibly we can fund it, make sure we can do it in our schools. So I am really excited about what we've done for sustainability. Even in a pandemic, the students have been amazing to work with as well as the team, and I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Supervisor Taylor. Appreciate that. One of my favorite committees that we do have because it's such a great partnership between students, administration, the community, and it does make a big difference. Any questions or comments from trustees? Trustee Langley?
Well, I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I have to say I'm really impressed to see that we are utilizing science and students to drive taxpayer savings in the schools. It's really a phenomenal community endeavor.
Thank you.
Any other trustees?
Okay.
Plus $5.8 million, Chris. And that we reinvest. I know we reinvest a lot of that back in. I mean,
Yeah.
what percentage of the savings do we typically take and then reinvest towards more initiatives? I think you had a
Yeah.
kind of a plan on that.
Yeah, President Wagers. So we get an actual stipend, not a stipend, that's not the right word, a incentive from Idaho Power because of this coat we're on. That money goes directly back to our committee. Nancy's been gracious enough to give us parts of that so that we can actually do some of the LED projects, do some smart ships that we've done. And then our committee also, Nancy's just given us a little bit of budget to work on how we can get some more information out to schools. We're looking at a program right now that we can actually have dashboards in a school. So if you walk into Capitol High School, on their screen, it'll show you live time of data of energy that they're saving during that time. And we just feel like we can have some of those communications, like Trustee Langley said, for me in our science and math classes, let's look at this data, let's use this data and see what we can do.
It just makes it real life learning. I mean, that's really great. Any other questions? No, thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you very much.
Appreciate it. All right, we're on to other business, which I think means Director Anderson gets to have the spotlight.
Good evening. Yes, I am other business. President Wagers and the board, I have one policy up for first read. Policy 3325, the threat assessment policy. And if you've taken a peek at it, it has a sentence in red added to it. We always want our policy to be consistent with what is actually happening. And this is a part of the process. So we wanted to be sure that the policy reflected that. So I stand for any questions.
Any questions for Director Anderson? I'd just like
Just
to remind.
comment.
Oh, go ahead, Trustee Gregory.
Just a comment, President Wagers. Having moved back onto the policy committee and getting my feedback in that water, and then going to the ISBA Summer Spring Institute leadership, where every other word was review your policies, review your policies, review your policies. I just have to commend the district administration and previous board work on our policy culture and our policy method of reviewing our policies in such a timely way. I think that we heard that some districts, their policies haven't been reviewed since the 90s. And so I really feel really proud that the district has a very robust review method and have figured out how to calendar them all in such a way that we meet the law for those that have to be reviewed every year and those that have to be reviewed every 3 years, et cetera, because it really does kind of clarify not only the policies, but our actions and our work when we know that our policies match the work that we're doing. So thanks to Becca for taking on that committee, and they're doing a great job.
Thank you, Trustee Gregory. And just a reminder for new trustees, we do review every policy every 3 years and some more often than that. The governance committee is a great way to learn how the district operates because we operate under policies and procedures, and without them, we're lost. But that's how things get changed and things get done. And I appreciate Director Anderson for kind of herding those cats. I haven't had the pleasure to serve on the governance committee, maybe because I get to decide who serves on what committee. But it's where the real work is really done. And I'd like to say thank you to Trustee Greeley for spending many years on it. And she is finally exiting that committee. So, but we really appreciate the work you do.
Well, thank you. And it's definitely a team effort. So I appreciate all the help that I get.
All right.
President Wagers.
Superintendent Dennis.
Just for the new trustees as well, there will be a second reading on all of these. So this is the first go around. If you have questions or suggestions, please reach out to Director Anderson, she can take those, visit with you a little bit. And when we bring back a second reading, then there will be a vote on that.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. The next thing on the agenda is executive session, and we're going to have to we have to deal with these differently now that we're in person, and we also have some trustees online. We're actually going to have to leave the boardroom. We will go upstairs to a committee room. We will just have the executive session. We'll have it brought out to us, and then we will come back, reconvene, and we will take action in the boardroom. We will take no action. No decisions will be discussed in the executive session. It will strictly be informational at that point. But I will still need a motion with a roll call vote.
President Wagers?
Trustee Greeley?
I move that we go into an executive session according to Idaho Code 742061B.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Been seconded by, did Trustee Esty get it? Excellent. We'll do a roll call vote, Clerk Mast.
Trustee Esty? Trustee Esty?
Aye.
Trustee Hawes?
Aye.
Trustee Wagers?
Aye.
Trustee Langley?
Aye.
Trustee Greeley?
Aye.
Trustee Gregory?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I believe the trustees that are in the room will get a link to an executive session in their email. Those of you who are visiting, actually welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. If you'd like to stay around, we will have an action. We may have an action. There's not always an action at the end of the executive session. We don't know when that's going to be, but you're welcome to stay, and we will return to the board meeting when we're done with that and then reconvene. But thank you again and have a good evening for those that are leaving, and the others, we'll see you in just a little bit. Right, well, welcome back. We have already voted, so we are now back in, which is an odd thing. We have to vote to clear the room when we leave the room to come back into open session. So here we are in open session back in the boardroom. We have done no business other than here we are showing up. But I will entertain a motion from executive. Is there a motion from executive session? Let's put it that way.
President Wagers,
Trustee Greeley.
I move to put the employee discussed in executive session on paid administrative leave pending an investigation.
I'll second.
Been seconded by Trustee Gregory.
Yes.
So it's been moved and seconded to place employee A discussion in executive session on paid administrative leave pending an investigation. Any discussions from trustees? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote.
Trustee Esty,
Aye.
Trustee Hawes,
Aye.
Trustee Wagers,
Aye.
Trustee Langley,
Aye.
Trustee Greeley,
Aye.
Trustee Gregory.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Oh, thank you, Clerk Mast. We have no more executive sessions, so we are on now to board trustee superintendent comments. Any comments? Deputy Superintendent Roberts? No, just kidding, just kidding.
Called on me officially that time.
Oh,
I would like to say happy birthday.
thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's good to be a year older. No, I don't want this year to be like last year. So that's my birthday wish. Any other board superintendent comments? Just a quick one. Nancy and I and Trustee Hawes attended the ISBA Spring Institute. I think Trustee Langley's attending in Lewiston because, or did you already attend or are you going? This week she's going to Lewiston to go to the meeting. So, but it worked out for her. So that works out great. Kind of you get to meet different trustees from different districts. It was a good experience for us. I mean, you always meet new people. We were in West Ada's boardroom, kind of seeing how they do things a little bit. Just went through a lot of policy following and realized once again, I think we do a pretty good job of what we're doing. So we appreciate the history that we have and the administration for guiding us as well.
President Wagers.
Trustee Gregory.
So it occurred to me that I guess one of my philosophies is it's always good to go and hear what's being said, but it still is important for us to come back and have discussions about some similar topics together as a whole board, because our way of operating is not a copycat of everybody else's. And as I listened to some of the training, I thought that there were some scenarios shared that are that support the way we do business. And we haven't ever had some of the dire situations that they portrayed because of the way we do business. And so I felt like after the meeting, I thought I should assure Trustee Hawes and Trustee Langley that we're doing okay. Our administrators are on top of things like this. We have a team effort between superintendent and board that facilitates policy development in a very respectful and value-based way. And that really is the foundation of our district culture. So, you know, if anything they hear there gives them heartburn, they should jot it down, but then we ought to have an opportunity to talk about it and explain how we handle the things that they were talking about.
Great. Thank you, Trustee Gregory. One last quick note for the trustees. I think we finally finished up our graduation assignments as of today. So I will work with Clerk Mast and we'll get that out in the next couple of days. So everybody's attending either 2 or 3 graduations. Everybody's speaking at kind of at something, I think, along the way, at least people that wanted to. And we're looking forward to being kind of a little bit of normalcy to our graduations. Excited about that piece. Any other comments from trustees? Or our next meeting is
President Wagers.
Trustee Hawes.
Oh, I just want to make a comment. I think watching the ASB report was, for me, it was kind of moving to hear the students' account of really expressing how challenging it was to take on the school year, but to really see the resiliency that the students did and focusing on how can we get back to school despite these challenges and learn, but how can we take care of each other in the community? That was really moving for me. So
Thank you, Trustee Haas. I agree. Well, seeing nothing else, we have a workshop in a couple weeks. Nancy Landon's got a lot of work to do on the budget between now and then. And away we go. I would entertain.
President Wagers,
Trustee Gregory.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Trustee Haas. All in favor? We'll need to do a roll call vote.
Trustee Esty,
Aye.
Trustee Haas,
Aye.
Trustee Wagers,
Aye.
Trustee Langley,
Aye.
Trustee Greeley,
Aye.
Trustee Gregory.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, everybody have a good evening. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Good meeting.